with one of my sisters, we have this expression we do when we're low key making fun of something that everyone's like, you gotta be excited. And we're like, okay, we do the little like, woo. So if you're just listening, I just put my index finger in the air and swirled it around one time.
I do believe that's your new rating system for all new product. How many woos?
How many circular woos?
A little sidekick enthusiasm wouldn't hurt, you know.
Woohoo. Extra who. Happy?
On this episode of ResiWeek, we talk HDMI 2.2, how big screens rule, and a new wave of wellness. All this and more on this episode of ResiWeek. This is ResiWeek episode 498, Evolution or Revolution. Welcome to this episode of ResiWeek. This is your weekly roundup of all the latest news and stories for the residential industry. I'm your host, Matt D. Scott for AVNation.tv, and this week I'm pleased to be joined by two of my good friends. First, we have Mr. Avi Rosenthal. He's a partner at BlueConnect Partners. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Gearing up for CEDIA Expo, man. It's getting close.
Yes, sir. Then we have Mr. Jason Knott. He is an evangelist at D-Tools. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Thank you both for being here. All right, gentlemen, we are going to jump right into a story that comes to us from CE Pro and a good friend of the show, Mr. Robert Archer. HDMI 2.2 is going to be at CEDIA Expo / CIX 25. What integrators need to know, go watch the video. It is informative. Bob asked some great questions. But essentially, it's been announced. There's not really any products yet that we really know of, but it's coming. So be excited. Avi, let me start with you on this. Again, I love this. I love the advancement. The Ultra 90, was it Ultra 96 is great. It will get confused with the gasoline Ultra 94, I'm sure. I just thought of that one. It's weird. Is this like, do dealers need to pay attention to this at all at this point?
So this is, I'm going to get philosophical on you just for a moment.
Wax poetic, my friend.
Wax poetic. Here we go. So a group of us were having a conversation the other day about prepping for CEDIA Expo. Mm-hmm. And for years, CEDIA Expo was like this really, really great gathering of new stuff, right? People started bringing out new stuff because CES was much more for the retailer and thing, and CEDIA had much more discussion about the integrators and the dealers, and it's really cool. And it dawned on us that like the whole industry seems very evolutionary these days, not revolutionary. And I know we've got a story later on in the podcast here that we're going to talk about that, in my opinion, is more revolutionary. But to me, this is like great for HDMI. It's an evolutionary process. They got to keep up with the camera guys and the TV guys and everybody else out there who's, moving video content around. But I'm getting a little bored. I'm getting a little like, I've been doing this for so long, and can we bring out something really, really cool and really, really neat? And like,
it gives me in with one of my sisters, we have this expression we do when we're low key making fun of something that everyone's like, you gotta be excited. And we're like, okay, we do the little like, woo. So if you're just listening, I just put my index finger in the air and swirled it around one time.
I do believe that's your new rating system for all new product.
How many woos? How many circular woos?
Okay. This
from the index finger.
Right. Index. Yes.
Not middle. Index.
But yeah, I mean, look, more power to HDMI. Obviously, the standard brings so much to our industry, and we love it. And it that we've worked through all of the things, but
it is very important. The chroma subsampling, to me, as Matt, is incredibly important because of the work that we do in video. But again, that's all commercial stuff. Jason, when you see this, again, at some point, this will affect the residential integrator community. I don't know if this even affects the commercial integrator community with medical or gaming production. The only thing I see this really hitting initially is, again, maybe medical imaging, maybe filmmaking. There's all of, I think, 2 manufacturers that have a 12K camera.
It's funny, just following up on Avi's point about revolutionary versus evolutionary. So remember back in 2000 and 2003, I guess, when HDMI 1.0 came out, this was revolutionary. We had DVI and component and all that stuff that everybody was having to deal with. And it seems, so at some point a revolutionary technology has to become evolutionary. And this is a perfect situation. And looking back at it, it's got every 5 to 6 years is when they've come out with a new version. So it was about time. HDMI 2.1 came out in 2019. Yeah. But here's why I think that the custom integration industry will embrace this eventually, because Ultra 96 sounds like a beer.
Actually, I think it is, right? Although I like yours better that it's an octane.
It's an octane.
Because let me tell you, I have a car that could use a little Ultra 96, and you can't buy it anymore, at least here in the States. So you can't, So
yeah, it's a problem. I love the progression. I just wish we could put some of this effort into a different connector with power and actually get a single cable solution that we've all been dreaming of one day.
Yeah, when Underwriters Laboratory.
We're not opening that can of worms.
No. All the smoke out of the magic box.
All smoke, no mirrors. All right. Talking about evolutionary technology, this comes to us from Residential Tech Today and Michael Heiss. Big screens will always rule. Samsung's got a new 115-inch Neo. I've actually seen this in person. This thing's fantastic. As well as a bunch of other manufacturers that are all well into the 100-plus inches, including a newish player called Skyworth. Supposedly, they have one of the best sets on the market. I have never seen one. I honestly had never heard of them, but it looks cool to me. Jason, we love seeing this evolution. And again, the story touches on 86 being the new 75, 75 being the new 65, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We know if customers have an option to go big, they will. Are we to the point, though, where we have to essentially start redesigning the spaces in which we are putting these displays to accommodate the size?
No, absolutely. And, we're already there, because think back to, one of the things that this affects as these screens get bigger and bigger is, Avi and I both worked really closely in the building community for a while. A builder, when he's building your new home now, he's telling you where your TV goes. Mm-hmm. So this goes way back before even the integrator. We're now at the builder level, that the builder has to accommodate wall size and or perhaps even strength of the stud wall or those sorts of things for whatever the weight of this device might be. The other part is we're running into this already now as we're seeing people go to video walls in the home of how are they accommodating the audio, because you can't have it, it's not like a transparent screen where you can blow the audio through the back of it. So now you've got to have the room designed in a way that is able to accommodate speakers, surround sound speakers on the wall above or on the side of or below, above or below this hardscaped panel. Okay. So now you're looking at room sizes being changed and everything. So I think one of the bigger things that I see on this and I question is where is the line going to be drawn between these single panels and the video walls that we're now seeing starting to move into the residential space? I know I talked to integrators who are having customers remove their projection systems in favor of video walls because of the brightness, because of the instantaneous, it comes on right away. But then, of course, as I just mentioned, it creates a potential audio problem. So, it's definitely, the design community definitely needs to be involved if these screens are going to get bigger and bigger.
I think the limitation will become door frames and access, because
ceiling height.
When the 82s came out years ago, when Sharp brought the 82, and I know we were not alone in this, we sold a bunch, got them to site, and realized they did not make the turn down the stairs. And there was just nope, sorry, you're getting downgraded because it won't physically fit in the house. Avi, I'm of two parts of this. I do love it. I love the big screens.
How could you not?
I love the fact that, we've got more and more art mode aspects to it. But I hit the point to where it just becomes stupid. Like how I know, but
no. Okay.
How big? Hold on. How big is too big?
Oh, you see. All right. This is Avi's axiom of televisions. All right. So there used to be this way back in the day. There was people would say you can't be too rich, you can't be too thin. Right. Now, obviously, we've body shaming and all of that, and so we've moved on from the too thin. So now it's you can't be too rich, you can't have too big a television. So I used to have, when I was an integrator, I would have clients all the time ask me, like, what size should I put on that wall? And my response to them always was, well, how much screen can you afford? Because it wasn't about the size of the screen. It was about the experience. Man, I've got 100-inch down in I live in a townhouse now. We've downsized. It's a much smaller family room. We rotated the family room 90 degrees
to accommodate
give
the TV.
A much wider wall so I could get this 100-inch. And I sit, probably way too close to it, but I don't care because it's the IMAX experience. Yeah, it is the IMAX. I'm sorry. I am so looking forward to seeing this thing next week at the show. I am absolutely looking forward to, for me, the big thing is the anti-glare, right? So not only have they gotten bigger, but the visual acuity of them has gotten better. And the finished surfaces, right? The glass surfaces has gotten so much better.
So much better.
So in my case, I got 100-inch. And man, let me tell you, you got to make sure that the curtains are closed in the right angle or the sun will beam off of this thing and reflect instantly and burn things up. I'm looking forward to the art wall experience where it looks like almost a painted, true painting.
Yeah.
Because it has that non-reflective look to it.
The matte screen.
It can't be stupid. It can't. The only stupid thing is that they're not building doorways large enough to bring these things in. That's where I draw the line. And that's again why the video walls.
Door.
Right. Well, but that's why the video walls make so much sense, right? Because they come in modular and you build them, right? And now you can solve that problem. But no, man, you can't have too big a television.
Let me ask you this then: is there the consumer adoption is obviously there?
Yeah.
Is the architectural or the design community, are they there with, again, 115-inch, whether it's got a perfect art display or not?
No. And your point about doorways, Matt, is the prime example of that. How do you get a 115-inch screen through a doorway that's only 7 feet tall? You just don't, right? You just don't.
It's going to be a challenge.
It's going to be a challenge.
Think about the future. If you guys remember the famous book Fahrenheit 451, Ray Bradbury, that Montag, the main character's wife, was upset because they only had a one-wall TV.
Right.
And all of their friends had three-wall
TVs.
So now we're talking about what we're just talking about. Potentially in the future, it's not going to be just on a single wall in front of you. If he was right, it's going to be 3 walls.
Again, Jason, just to prove your point, so I've got this 100-inch, and where the 85 used to be on the sidewall now sits a 55, and on the 55, it's a digital picture frame pretty much 24/7, except for Formula One weekends where it's logged into the telemetry of the racetrack. So the telemetry's over there, and I'm watching the Sky News feed on the big screen. So, because back in the day, when I was an integrator in the 90s, we used to have furniture manufacturers, furniture cabinet makers that would make for multiple screens, or you'd put 4 18, 12 or 12 or 18-inch screens across the top, and you'd have one 55-inch at the bottom. And then, of course, we got bigger screens, and they had the ability to do video in boxes, right? We had picture-in-picture. All that went away. The beauty of the video wall, obviously, is that you can go back to things like picture-in-picture, multiple receiver. But traditionally, these big screens are, one input, one image, right? They don't do blending anymore. So now the possibility of having multiple screens in a room, and it's amazing that they've given us so much more footprint, but less video features.
Yep.
So again, evolutionary, not revolutionary. Like, how did I lose my picture-in-picture when I went to a big flat screen?
Because they don't like you.
Probably. And
it was you specifically.
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, it's all. And I've driven down the entire industry. Ask anybody, they'll tell you. It's all my fault.
You go to Korea, there's a picture of you on the wall, and it says,
At Samsung.
no picture in picture.
No picture. That's it. I can accept that. It's okay.
It happens. All right.
Yeah.
Let's hit our last story of the day. This one comes to us from Residential Systems. A new wave of wellness apps brings monitoring and control for caregivers. This is a collaboration between Global Wave Integration and Future Care Solutions Groups that has announced the launch of the Wave of Wellness mobile app. It's a dashboard that unites real-time health and wellness monitoring with smart home control. The story says cutting edge. I am not giving it that moniker yet.
Until I see it.
Yeah. I got to be me. Go read the article, but then go check out futurecare.ai and see what they're actually offering, because it is, I'm going to say compelling. It's a compelling argument, and it's a compelling situation to look at. Essentially, you can get a gateway as well as a handful of sensors that do not include microphones or cameras, but there's fall detection, there's movement detection, et cetera, that tie in together and then can connect as well to supposedly some additional smart home devices. Couple that all in with some AI on your app, and it will tell you if grandma is, getting up, using the facilities, getting into the dining room, opening the medicine cabinet, et cetera, and create a pattern of life in theory, and then give you notifications based on that. Avi, we've talked nothing but evolutionary. This could be
This
somewhat
is,
revolutionary.
yes. Yeah.
Looking at this, I wanted to hate it because it started with wellness.
Okay.
And then when I went to the website and actually looked into it, I kind of started to love it and saw a bunch of applications that make sense to me. Who is the market for this? Is this our market, or have we already been surpassed with this offering?
Okay, so let's start right there. Right? So
right there.
The technology, I think, is really cool. There have been fits and starts in this space for quite a while now. There have been a number of companies working on camera-less, microphone-less technologies to be able to track human beings without the creepiness factor. Hats off to them for integrating them together. I mean, this is a serious thing. I also love the fact that you say grandma. It shows you how much older, I'm sorry, Jason, but you and I are than Matt, because it's probably parents for us, not necessarily grandma for us.
It's parents for me, too. Just, we call them, I've got little kids. We call them grandma, grandpa.
There you go. That's totally acceptable. But this is, in my opinion, the number one, and I'm going to stake my rep on this. This is the number one business opportunity for integrators in our industry right now. There are more people turning 65 than any other age day by day. This is the single biggest business opportunity for dealers. So what I'm waiting for is somebody to package this in such a way that the dealers can take advantage of their reputations, the confidences they have with their homeowners, the reputation of technologists they have with their clients, and leverage that to help and support as these people age, as they bring their parents back into the living spaces, or even better, as their parents move into their neighborhoods because they want their own space, but they want to be independent. But you and I are worried about what's going on at mom and dad's house. Mm-hmm. And this is a huge opportunity. The security industry is going to go on a land grab of this if the integrators are not careful. And the integrators need to get in front of it. They need to get one of their people trained on it. They need to go to the seminars, webinars, training classes, whatever methodology these guys are going to use to get the word out. Because I am absolutely certain that if they do, this will be a successful business model for each and every one of them.
So the demographic that Avi describes is 100% correct. That everybody's aging. I saw a stat, the percentage of people who want to go into a nursing home Zero. So no, there's not
Yeah.
nobody wants to. Oh, I turn 75. I hope I get into a nursing home.
wait.
Nobody. But so the thing I like about this, and going back to my security roots and Avi's just mention of security, is it's recurring revenue focused. From the monitoring standpoint, and that's you know me, I toot that horn like crazy that integrators have got to get in the recurring revenue business. We've already, the personal emergency response systems, the I've fallen and I can't get up, the watches and the lanyards that the security industry sells. Here's the difficulty that this industry has to overcome is that, and Avi mentioned we had Grand Care Solutions, we had Caregiver Solutions, we've had other attempts at this. And where it's failed, I believe, is that integrators have to have the recognition that there's multiple decision makers in this chain, and that many cases it's not just the caregiver, it's the caregiver plus the person, and there needs to be relationships with oxygen supply facilities, remote in-home nursing care, those sorts of things that can really catapult integrators into this, because they are the most trusted contractor. You're in the home with that customer for building these very personal solutions. This is one of them. They've got to overcome that hurdle on the sale. It's a sales thing, in my opinion. It's how can they overcome the hurdle of getting past the multiple salesperson. But there is a gold mine of recurring revenue there for sure.
So let me ask you guys this, because again, I'm fascinated with this offering because from everything else I've seen, this blows those out of the water. The couple of things that I question or am concerned with is, one, when you go to the website, it shows we're a CEDIA finalist, which is great. There is nowhere on the website where they're looking for partners. They're not looking for integrators. And again, this is nitpicky.
No,
but it comes back to the same thing of
it's a problem.
When I see this, the first thing I went to is this is going to get gobbled up by whatever massive healthcare company in the States that puts $10 million into it, or whatever it's going to take to buy it, and then it's going to get walled. It is going to not be available to us. The other side of it that growing up in a lawyer's house concerns me immensely: liability. As an integrator owning a company, I don't want this liability that grandma fell and the sensor failed.
So that goes back to partnership, Matt. So let's talk about that. And I agree with you. The website, if I were in charge of their marketing, their website would be changed, because the first thing that pops up there is I'm a CEDIA finalist. Now, first of all, how many people who are looking for these solutions are going to even understand what that means? So if I'm the consumer and I end up on this website, what the heck is CEDIA, right? That doesn't make any sense to me. So now you're thinking, all right, the website must be dealer-centric, because obviously a dealer would know what CEDIA is. But then there's no place to partner, because if they really want the integrators to sign up, then in the contract, they should be taking the liability for the system, for the usability, for the workability, for its reliance and assurance, to indemnify the dealer so that they are truly in partnership. Because they can actually spread the liability for everything across all of their dealers, rather than just one dealer having their own liability. So we'll see what's going to happen when we meet with them at CEDIA, is whether or not they're actually positioned to do this.
Yeah, and I think on the liability front, Avi, it's been successfully upheld for so long in the limitation of liability clause that a security dealer has, which this kind of protects the liability or limits the liability. Why it's called a limitation of liability clause. based upon the same thing as he says was grandma falls and the sensor doesn't work. It's the same thing as if the burglar alarm doesn't go off when the house is being broken into. There is a limitation of liability there that the integrator can protect himself. The other part of it that I think is interesting that integrators have to realize is this is why I like the idea of building these forever homes. This home that builders can get engaged and build homes that start out with the people who the same home that accommodates a couple that don't have kids, accommodates the multi-room audio system that becomes the baby call system when they do have kids. It becomes the multi-room audio when they're listening to music later, and then it becomes this, to be able to help that elderly person. The one thing I should have mentioned earlier on the I've fallen and I can't get up, the PERS systems, I believe the number on the recurring revenue is the lifespan is 18 months because the average lifespan of one of those systems for monitoring is only 18 months. So the customer either dies or is eventually moved into some sort of assisted living facility, and the liability or the recurring revenue cuts off. So that's another element of this that integrators need to consider.
Well, because again, normally the people who go onto those systems are people who are forced onto those systems.
Exactly.
And they're forced by some life event, right? Maybe they've already fallen, or maybe they just got out of a hospital, or maybe they're, it's more about a life event than it is necessarily about the person themselves. So I agree with you. I think that there's a way to mitigate this, but there's also, there is gold at the end of this rainbow as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I put trust in Kyle Steele and Global Wave. They're a great company in Southern California. Yeah. He redid his showroom several years ago that was very wellness oriented. And we've been talking about wellness. It's funny. I can think back to like the early 2000s that we started mentioning wellness in CE Pro, and maybe now the lighting revolution that has seemed to have grabbed this industry is the foot in the door that's going to open up more wellness opportunities for integrators to be thinking about it than previously.
That's fantastic. All right, gentlemen, let's leave it there. Thank you both so much for joining us. Avi, if people want to connect with you, learn more about BlueConnect partners, or visit you at the show, where can they do that?
Best places are our brand new website, BlueConnectPartners.com.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Mr. Knott, if people want to connect with you, learn more about D-Tools, or visit you at the show as well, where can they do that?
Yeah, you can go to our website, which is dtools.com. You can do it with or without the hyphen now, D-tools, or just dtools.com. And please come by our booth if you're going to CEDIA Expo, booth 3133, and it's going to be our most innovative booth yet.
Excellent. Thank you again for joining us. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me at Matt D. Scott on most of the socials. But more importantly, please visit AVNation.tv, where you'll find this show as well as a wide variety of other shows with all the verticals that we cover. When you visit the website, please take a moment to check out our supporters. We are extremely thankful for their support and ask that you check them out as well. Thanks again for watching. That's all the time we have for this episode of ResiWeek,
the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is Erin Marmoran of EdTech. The world of higher ed AV is growing rapidly. That's why each month we hear from the best and brightest from colleges and universities all over the U.S. Check out EdTech on avnation.tv or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.